Just what happens when one day before marrying the love of your life, she dies in a devastating car accident, but you can't let go? So, what do? You marry a ghost wife. But what happens when 20 years later you find out she never died? This is the story of Sam, a loving, controlling psychopath, and Charlie, his victim. This episode is called Soft Whispers. My name is Michael, and I am your narrator. Enjoy. I love you and I'm sorry are two words that should never be used in the same sentence. But what to do when life gives you a fresh cup of coffee in the morning, sprinkled with just a touch of violence? Bruises you must hide with makeup, clothes, and excuses. Should you not take the roses for fear of the thorns? Is the beauty of the roses even worth the pain of the thorns? But you've never had roses before, and oh my, are they lovely. And who isn't scared of losing something lovely? The fear of dying alone is the only thing stronger than the pain caused by endless years of abuse. So you ignore the pain and the abuse when he tells you, "You know I love you. You know I don't usually act like this." Or, "I've given everything up for you. I can't live without you. I'll die." So you forget all about the pain when he remembers to say, "I love you." You feel loved, right? So you cry and say, "Yes, I am so lucky to have you," and nothing makes you happier than the thought of dying altogether. The white picket fence, the small footsteps running around the house, and yes, and they lived happily ever after. Well, in this story, there's no dragon in the dungeon, no princess locked up in a tower, and definitely no Prince Charming coming to your rescue. But instead, the story talks about how a ferocious wolf dressed up in sheep's clothing to get closer to the herd without the farmer finding out. So let's get started. Sam and Charlie had met at a book signing about 5 years ago, and trust me, it was love at first sight. "I see you also like horror stories," said Sam. Charlie chuckled. "Yeah, what's not to like, right?" At that moment, Sam knew it. Sam had never been in love before, but he knew Charlie was the one. He felt at home when he was with Charlie. "I actually want to be a famous author one day," said Sam. "I wouldn't mind sharing a few ideas, but shh, you can't tell nobody. You're going to be worth a fortune one day, you'll see." After the book signing, both of them went to their local coffee shop to talk about Sam's best-selling multi-million-dollar book ideas. And Charlie was hooked. How not to be? She had never met such a charismatic and caring person. Sam actually cared for Charlie, and it was the first time anybody had ever cared for her. And after that night, Charlie would start imagining her future next to Sam and could not stop thinking about him. Yeah, boy. Soon, the hanging out turned into dates. The dates turned into a meaningful relationship. Everything was perfect in the beginning. They moved into a small but beautiful apartment that they made their home, where they would have breakfast every morning on their balcony overlooking the most beautiful park. And then, they would get ready and head out to work. One day, Sam got back from work very angry. The project he had spent countless hours working on had gotten rejected by the editor. Sam's dreams of becoming an accomplished author were slowly dissipating into just a dream. Charlie, on the other hand, had a huge promotion that day. She was very excited and walked in celebrating with a bottle and a gift in her other hand, which was for Sam. Some designer glasses Sam had always wanted. And now, things were finally going to get better. Money was going to come in and solve all their problems. All the stress, all the arguments, everything was about to change. "I got you something," said Charlie, as happy as she could be, her eyes filled with nothing but love for Sam. "Really? What you get?" asked Sam. As he opened the box, a smile came across Charlie's face, but not Sam's. "Did you not like them?" asked Charlie, a bit disappointed. "I love them. They're just very expensive. I don't know if we can afford them." All of a sudden, Charlie burst into happiness, saying, "I got a promotion today." "Great, I'm happy for you," said Sam. "How was work?" Charlie asked. "I really don't want to talk about it," Sam responded in an upset tone. "Did the editor like your proposal?" Charlie kept asking, eager to know. "I said I don't want to talk about it," answered Sam in an elevated voice. "I'm just worried about you. I brought you an expensive gift and I didn't even get a thank you," said Charlie. Sam lost it. Plates went flying across the kitchen table. A huge argument started. Glass shattered across the floor, and only fragments of the designer glasses remained, like a lost memory of something that once brought joy to one's life. The argument caused such a disturbance that the neighbors called the police immediately, and it only got worse from there. The arguments became part of the daily routine. Hugs changed into insults, kisses into punches. Every day that cup of coffee became harder and harder and harder to swallow. Charlie got tired of the abuse and moved back in with her parents. Of course, they knew what was going on, but no matter what they said, Charlie would always go back to Sam. And eventually, after the storm finally came the peace Charlie had so desperately desired. The good times Charlie had wished for had finally came. Sam would yell from time to time, but at least no more physical abuse. That was definitely progress, right? The day had finally come. I do was in a foreseeable future, and Charlie's parents weren't happy about it. The thought of their only princess marrying this abuser almost too hard to bear. But as supportive as always, they helped out, planning a beautiful wedding on the outskirts of town in a beautiful vineyard on one of the most beautiful mountain ranges, well known for its breathtaking waterfalls and lush green scenery. "I promise to come back as soon as possible," said Charlie, who had to deliver a work project across the country only 1 week before her wedding date, and wouldn't return until one day before the I do. Finally, the day of Charlie's arrival had come, and a light drizzle fell upon that beautiful mountain range. "Plane just landed. On my way. Love you," read the text message that Charlie had sent Sam. But Charlie would never arrive that night. The following day, Sam waited anxiously at the altar. But as the time passed, Charlie did not arrive, and every second that passed, Charlie's family looked increasingly more and more worried. Where was Charlie? A million thoughts ran through Sam's head. Did Charlie change her mind? Is she okay? What happened to Charlie? Minutes turned into hours, but Charlie would never walk down that aisle. A search party was eventually called, and they looked frantically for Charlie. It had started raining again, and the darkness of nighttime was descending upon them. Had she hit a deer? Engine problems? After a few hours, the helicopter from the search and rescue team spotted Charlie's black SUV at the bottom of the mountain range, almost being dragged into the river. Everyone feared the worst. The search team with the local police department descended to the bottom of the mountain, and what they saw looked like a terrible scene out of some gruesome horror movie. The front of the vehicle was crushed. The engine was torn right off the SUV, and pigments of red blood covered the inside of the vehicle. The blood was so thick, no one could see past what used to be clear glass. The rescue team quickly sawed off the door, and there was Charlie, unconscious with fragments of what was left of the vehicle, some of them still inside her, encrusted in her skin. But not all hope was lost. Charlie was in a terrible state, no doubt about it, but she was still alive. Charlie was airlifted to the nearest hospital. But, unfortunately, not even the best doctors could do anything to save her. Charlie had suffered head trauma, and the following morning, she had passed away. What do you do when I love you means forever? When not even death can do us part? Well, Sam was not ready to say goodbye to Charlie. Not now, not ever. Sam saw Charlie in her casket, but he could not bring himself to see her descend into the ground. "That's not Charlie. Charlie's full of life and happy. You're all wrong," said Sam, his eyes filled with tears. Sam never said goodbye to Charlie. Instead, Sam went back to the vineyard, where they were supposed to get married and live there happily ever after. While crying at the altar, Sam heard a voice coming from the woods. "Sam? Sam?" A very faint voice. Sam knew who that was. "Charlie? Is that you?" Sam said, barely being able to stand. "Sam! Sam! Find me, Sam!" "I'm coming, Charlie! I'm coming!" yelled Sam, running across the woods, running towards the screaming, running towards Charlie. Finally, Sam got to a clearing where Charlie's voice all of a sudden disappeared. "You found me, Sam. You found me." From the woods emerged Charlie, not covered in blood. No bruises or scars or open wounds or pieces of car inserted in her skin, but in her beautiful white wedding dress. Sam ran towards Charlie, hugging her, knocking her down to the floor. "As beautiful as always, just like the first day we met many years ago at that book signing, so full of life and dreams." Sam got on one knee. "Charlie, will you share the rest of your life with me?" "Yes, I will. I love you. I can't imagine life without you. Until my last breath, I want to be by your side," answered Charlie. Without saying a word, Sam packed his things and moved across the country to pursue his dreams of being a famous, accomplished writer and to start his future with Charlie. After 20 years of challenging work in the big city, Sam had finally made it as a best-selling author, and Sam's life with Charlie was more perfect than ever. Every day, they would have breakfast overlooking a beautiful park, and Charlie would sit across from Sam while Sam wrote another of his best-selling novels. And trust me, Sam could not be happier. Destiny had other plans. On one of Sam's usual tours around the country to promote his latest novel, Soft Whispers, he had to go to a neighboring city, pretty close to his residence, only a couple of hours away. So Sam did his regular morning routine. He had breakfast and kissed Charlie goodbye. Meanwhile, it was a full house at the book signing, and everything was going according to schedule. He would talk about his latest novel and a little bit about his career, answering questions, and like always, he would stay around for a quick meet and greet with a few of his fans, sign a few books, just another normal day. Till someone quite familiar stopped by the table and said, "Wow, I'm your biggest fan. I've read all your books and seen all of the movies. I actually want to be an author just like you one day." Sam chuckled and said, "Oh, really? Well, I hope you do. You know, you look quite familiar. You actually remind me of someone. Someone actually quite dear to me. You aren't by any chance from a small town on the outskirts of Ridge Mountain, are you?" Not thinking much of it, till the young fan said, "No, but my grandparents are from there." "Really? Not a lot of people know about this, but I actually grew up in that small town. So tell me, neighbor, who do I write this autograph to?" The young fan, with excitement, said, "Robin, please. I was named after my grandmother. She might have been your elementary school teacher. She used to teach in Ridge Mountain a long time ago." Sam's heart sank. Robin looked like a younger version of Charlie, and Charlie's mom was named Robin, and she was also an elementary school teacher. Could these be mere coincidences? You wouldn't happen to have a picture of her by any chance, would you? Sure thing. Robin pulled out her cell phone and showed Sam a family picture, and what Sam saw left him cold. A numbness ran through his body. It was the worst pain he had ever experienced. Was he dreaming? What was going on? Sam saw something impossible. Sam saw Charlie in the family picture. It was obvious that Robin was Charlie's daughter, but how? How was this even possible? Did Charlie have a twin sister that Sam didn't know about? Was this another family that looked so much like Charlie's family and coincidentally had the same name and background? No, no, that was Charlie. No doubt about it. But how? Sam saw Charlie's lifeless body in the casket. Sam was there when the rescue team cut open the SUV door. Did Sam imagine all this? No, something was wrong. You say you want to become a famous writer, right? Well, I have a few ideas for a novel I'm working on. Be amazing to get another opinion. If you have time, of course, said Sam. Yes, I have time, answered Robin eagerly before Sam could even finish his sentence. Great. If you want, we can meet over there at the coffee shop after the signing, have a quick cup of coffee, and I'd be more than happy to hear what you have to think about my newest novel that's about to come out. The last thing Sam wanted to do was waste his time with a fan. But Sam had to find out the truth. Was Charlie alive? Later that evening, while chatting with Robin about novel ideas, Sam found out that Robin had no aunts or uncles, no extended family, and that indeed, Charlie was alive. Well, it was a true pleasure, Robin, and remember not to tell anyone about this conversation, at least till I publish my next novel, okay? While Sam said goodbye to Robin, knowing that while she stepped out to use the restroom, Sam quickly put a small tracking device in her bag in the shape of a pen, so that she wouldn't find out. And then Sam proceeded to follow Robin at a safe distance till she got home. He saved his location, and then he went home to his Charlie. But when Sam opened the door, it didn't smell like dinner, and Charlie wasn't there either. I'm home. I missed you, beautiful. Charlie? But Charlie didn't answer. Sam thought maybe Charlie had gone to bed, but no. On the way to the bedroom, Sam saw her lying on the hallway floor. Stunned, Sam quickly ran to make sure Charlie was okay, and as soon as Sam reached out, a chill ran down his spine. Charlie was freezing cold. And when he lifted her, she was so light, as light as a bag of feathers. But what happened to Charlie? Could this be because of what happened today? This had never happened before. Sam lied in bed, and Charlie whispered, Sam, I'm glad you're home. I'm sorry I couldn't cook dinner. I'm not feeling so well, hon. That night, Sam couldn't sleep. He blamed Charlie's parents for what was happening. He wanted to cry. He wanted to wake up, as if this was all just another nightmare. In the middle of the night, Sam went down to the basement, pulled out a gun from his safe, and pulled the trigger. But the gun jammed and had misfired. In that moment, Sam had a moment of illumination, clarity. This bullet was not meant for him. This bullet was meant for Charlie's parents. As if a voice from above told him, this bullet is not meant for you. It's meant for Charlie's parents. And he was going to deliver divine justice. He was going to be the messenger that was going to deliver the bullet to them. The following morning, Sam took good care of Charlie. He gave her breakfast and said he had to go off to a meeting with his editor, right? Sam got in his car and went to that neighboring city where he rented an apartment where from the window he could clearly see Charlie's house. After a whole morning of no activity, Sam finally saw a car pull into the driveway and a familiar face stepped out of it. It was Charlie. Sam felt a terrible rage. He wanted to grab his rifle and he wanted to make sure Charlie was dead for real this time. But no, before he did that or anything remotely close to that, he had to make sure to get his revenge on those that had ruined his perfect life, Charlie's parents. So Sam waited patiently for 2 weeks. Every day he would observe Charlie through the window till his patience had finally paid off. On an early Sunday morning, all of a sudden, a different car pulled into the driveway. Finally, it was Charlie's parents. Sam eagerly waited till they went inside and pulled out his sniper rifle. He aimed. and then fired. A shot was fired. Sam had fired a tiny tracking device into the trunk of Charlie's parents' car. He waited and waited, thinking what was he going to do to them, playing with his darkest thoughts in his mind as if he was juggling live grenades, and every now and then almost dropping one. After a few hours, they left, so Sam entered into action, following them till they arrived home. Great, great, act now, said a voice in his head. But as soon as Sam was about to open his car door, a neighbor came knocking on their door. Seeing he'd almost been so reckless, he drove off into the night to formulate his master plan. Back at home, Charlie was looking worse every day. Not only was her body temperature freezing, but her skin was almost transparent. Sam, I'm really not feeling well. My head hurts and my memories are blurry. I know you've been really busy with work lately, and that's why I didn't want to tell you, but no matter what happens, I just want you to know that I will always love you. A tear ran down Sam's cheek. This was the love of his life, his happily ever after. This was the only person he would ever love, and he was not ready to lose her again. Sam knew what he had to do. He had to kill Charlie. The following morning, Sam's master plan was brought into action. He went to several stores and bought diverse items, ranging from a knife to a hammer, duct tape, saws, and a few sex toys that, if used inappropriately, could cause a severe amount of pain. Sam drove to Charlie's parents' house. He overheard them talking about going to their weekly doctor's visits later that afternoon. So as soon as they left, he snuck into their home, and with his phone he started taking pictures and scoping out the house where his masterpiece would eventually take place. And everything was going according to plan. He switched out their medicine pills with sleeping pills, but before Sam left, he decided to stop by the basement. Big mistake, for in the basement, Sam found a box labeled Search and Rescue. Curiosity got the best of him, and he opened it up. And at the top of the files was a folder labeled Search and Rescue File, Information File. So Sam curiously opened it up and started reading, and his eyes lit wide open. Information about the case came to light. Information about the police report, but nowhere on the papers did it ever mention Charlie's death. All of a sudden, Sam heard footsteps coming from above him. Had that much time passed already? He checked his phone. No, they came back early. His adrenaline was higher than ever, but he couldn't do nothing. He had to wait till they fell asleep so that he could sneak out through a small window in the basement. It was already too late to drive home, not to mention he was way too curious to see what else he might find in that box. So he stayed in his rented apartment that night and dove right into the files, and underneath the search and rescue file, he saw Charlie's medical reports from the hospital, but nowhere did it say that Charlie had died from head trauma. What had really happened was Charlie was actually in a coma for about a week. When she finally woke up, Charlie had woken up with long-term amnesia. She had forgotten everything. Her name, where she was from, literally everything. The only thing Charlie could remember were her parents. So after she woke up, she stayed in that hospital for another month in rehabilitation. Sam was in shock. He could not understand how was this even possible. He saw Charlie's lifeless body lying in the coffin. Was it really her in that coffin? Was she buried alive, Sam thought? Was she? The second folder in the files had the explanation for everything. In the folder were documents for a change of name, documents for a new passport and social security card, and IDs, but most importantly, an email that Charlie's father had wrote to a friend he had in the cinematic industry, where he requested a lifelike doll of Charlie. In the email, he described the car accident, the coma, how he was faking her death, and how that was the only way to save his daughter, his beautiful princess, from her abusive fiancé. The night of the accident, Charlie had died, and Jackie was born. At 6 a.m., the alarm went off, and the day had finally come. Sam was going to deliver Destiny's message and would not stop at nothing till he stood over Charlie and her parents' lifeless body. He inspected the gun, making sure this time it definitely would not jam again. He sharpened his knife for the last time, checked his duffel bag to make sure everything was perfect: the plastic covers, the duct tape, rope, his lighter, the toys. While in his car, Sam started crying, thinking if what he was doing was correct. Maybe he should just let Charlie vanish into nothingness and let the real Charlie live happily ever after with her brand new family and the brand new town away from him. No, they had to pay for what they had done, and Charlie, she had to die. Sam parked near Charlie's parents' house in a hidden alley, pulled out his binoculars, and noticed that they were both unconscious, still in their bedroom, sleeping just where Sam wanted to end. In his head, a melody began to play. It was the beginning of the end. The beginning of a symphony. His biggest masterpiece was about to take place. Sam got out of the car with his duffel bag, jumped the backyard fence, and crawled in through the small window in the basement he had left open the night prior, and started to make his way up the stairs. As he opened their bedroom door, he saw them there, lying in their bed, and thought, I could easily shoot them both and get it over with. But no, that would be letting them off the hook too easily. They had to suffer for what they'd done. Have you ever heard the saying, reality surpasses fiction? Well, to understand what Sam did next, first you had to understand that there were no limitations to one's imagination but oneself. First, Sam brought up the dining room table and tied Charlie's father face down like a hog, facing his wife, who was still sleeping on their bed, tying each one of his extremities to a separate corner of the table, and then placed a gag ball in his mouth so that if he tried to scream, nobody could hear him. Then, Sam proceeded to strip Charlie's mother of all her clothes and then tied her down to the bed in a similar fashion, just face up. After that, he proceeded to cover the whole room with his clear sheets of plastic and placed all the items in his duffel bag on a small coffee table that they had near a window as if he was ready to perform high-level surgery. And after that, he was done. So he sat down in the chair to sharpen his knife and patiently wait for them to wake up. It was around 5 o'clock in the afternoon when Charlie's father had finally woke up to the sight of his wife getting raped right before his eyes. Her nipples had been burned off, and the tears in her eyes were drenched by her own blood, coming from all the cuts all over her face. I'm glad you're awake. I was starting to fear you were going to miss out on the show. You like it, don't you, beautiful? Sam said, while cutting another piece of skin off Charlie's mother's face. Sam's dad tried to break free, but his efforts were in vain. He couldn't. He couldn't do anything but watch as his figured wife just get viciously penetrated. Tear after tear went down both of their faces, tears of pain and rage. You remember me, right? It's me, Sam, remember? I'm your favorite son-in-law, Sam. I was supposed to get married to your daughter, Charlie, but now you call her what? You guys call her Jackie, right? God, it tastes so good, said Sam, while licking Charlie's mom's wounded face like a predator taunting his prey, giving her that final kiss of death. We aren't gonna let all the fun to ourselves and let Big Boss miss out on it now, are we, Robin? Sam got up and made his way towards Charlie's father with his knife and sharpened it over his body, like a butcher getting ready to cut up a dead animal. Then proceeded to carve out his rectum, low torching the wound, preventing him from bleeding out, and then proceeded to straight up fuck him. Feces and blood covered the floor. Sam would keep torturing them for hours, trying his best not to let them die, but whenever they did faint because of the excruciating pain, he would continue with the one that was still conscious. burning his prey, then smashing their bones with his hammer. After 2 days of non-stop barbaric torture, Sam knew that the following morning Charlie would come to visit her parents. So he sat down in the middle of them and said, "As you guys know, our beloved Charlie is coming over to visit tomorrow, and I'm dying to see her." You see, to me, she didn't die that day. I had the perfect life by her side. I was happy till you two ruined it. And for what? To protect her? To protect her from me? From me? Yelled Sam, while tossing a chair across the room. Well, look at yourselves now. Who are you protecting her from now? Who is protecting who now? Then Sam made his way over to the coffee table and grabbed his hammer and slammed it right into Robin's gag ball, breaking her teeth in the process, shoving them down her throat. But before she could make a sound, she felt a knife digging right into her throat, slicing through her body, breaking ribs on the way straight into her stomach. Well, you can't protect anyone now, can you, big man? I noticed while we were having our fun, you two wouldn't stop looking into each other's eyes. You must really like them. Then, with a swift swing of his hammer like a nutcracker at Christmas, he broke Robin's skull into multiple pieces. There you go, big boss. They're all yours, said Sam, as he placed two lifeless eyes on the table right in front of Charlie's dad.
Charlie's father felt like ending it all, but the only thing keeping him alive was the thought of how was he going to protect Charlie from this animal. But he couldn't protect Robin. How is he supposed to protect Charlie? Would he be able to protect his beautiful baby girl? You know, I was thinking of maybe giving this house a little remodeling, said Sam, while pouring Robin's blood into some buckets of paint he had found in the basement. Come on, let's spend some father and son time making this house look pretty for when our beloved Charlie gets here. It'll be a sight to die for. Sam chuckled while heading downstairs to finish up his masterpiece. He spent all afternoon and part of the night painting the house with Charlie's mother's blood, giving the walls a hue of grim, almost gangrenous appearance. Time to go to bed, big boss. Tomorrow's the big day. The grand finale, the climax, the last chapter of my masterpiece. I can see it now. Jackie dies, and Sam and Charlie live happily ever after, said Sam in a twisting voice. You don't mind if I fuck your wife real quick, do ya? I know she won't mind, would ya, hun? Said Sam, while shaking what remained of Robin's head in affirmative nodding motion. Early next morning, Sam injected a tranquilizer that would immobilize Charlie's father. And once he was sure that the old man couldn't move, he dragged him down the stairs, sat him on a chair in the living room. Then he went real quick to get Charlie's mom from the upstairs. Sam threw the corpse, or what was left of it, down the stairs, then went into the closet and found her old wedding dress. And Sam proceeded to sit them both down together and dressed Robin in her old wedding dress. But as soon as he was going to reach out for the rope to tie Charlie's father to the chair before the tranquilizer's effect wore out, he heard how the knob of the front door started to move. Mom? Dad, I'm home, said Charlie. As she opened the door, as soon as Charlie walked in, before she could even scream, Sam slammed the door behind her, throwing her to the floor, then pointing the gun at Charlie's father, saying, If you scream, I will kill him. I missed you, beautiful. You might not know who I am, but trust me, I know everything. About you, those cuts on your wrist, they weren't caused by the car accident. No. That was our first Christmas fight. I know your favorite color is burgundy, and that's why I painted this house your favorite color so that you would be happy when you saw it, Sam said while crying. I know you don't remember anything, but we were in love. We were going to get married the day of your accident, and I love you so much. And now, now you must die so that we can be together forever and live our happily ever after." Sam raised his gun, pointing it at Charlie's head, clocked it. But as soon as he was about to pull the trigger, Charlie's father used his last bit of willpower, broke off one of Robin's ribs, and sprung over Sam and stabbed him in the neck. That opportunity gave Charlie just enough time to run towards the door, but before she could turn around to see if her father was okay, 3 shots were heard. And just like that, it was all over. Our story had finally had its happily ever after. A smile had come across Sam's face as he lied on the floor laughing and crying. What had happened was, when Charlie's husband heard the commotion, when he heard the screaming, he ran out of his car, he busted down that door and put 3 bullet holes into Sam's chest. All you could see was poor Sam bleeding out on the floor, and said while crying, "Charlie, I'm not feeling so well. I'm sorry, Charlie. I'm sorry, Charlie. I failed you, Charlie. I'm sorry. I failed you because of me. Now we won't be together. I will never see you again." Then all of a sudden, right above Sam, Charlie descended from the ceiling saying, "I finally found you. Now we can finally have our happily ever after." Charlie's soft lips descended upon Sam's, giving him his first kiss that would mark the beginning of the rest of their lives. "I swear I'll never stop loving you," were Sam's final words before everything turned black. This world in which we live in has an interesting way of saying things, as if life was nothing but a joke, with our hopes and dreams, our aspirations, being the punchline. If you enjoyed this story and like similar content, then please join me for our next episode, where we will be exploring the life of Luke, a small young boy who falls into a coma while trying to save his brother's life, and now can only live in other people's dreams while desperately trying to find his body so he could finally wake up. I am your narrator. Sweet dreams.